Just know that I'm
two levels above you, baby.
Love me, baby.
I'm gonna make you love me, baby.
Soft and crazy. Ain't nothing but trouble.
Yeah. That's the intro
They
right
had the
there.
big fur coat on top of the roof.
Yeah.
Was Busta Rhymes on it too?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yo,
Was
I
that
think
Victory?
that era of music for me personally, was dope.
Yeah.
Like,
Number one, baby.
do you remember when?
I love that station.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Diddy and Mace made it cool for people to put on them shiny shoes?
I could never find a shiny
And
suit.
then
but I
other
knew
people
that they-
tried.
Yeah, it was, you would if you did find it, you would have rocked it.
100%.
But the other people tried and failed miserably.
Did they?
But for me, like the number one fashion icons were Dipset. They were
Dipset.
the most like avant-garde, like pink.
That pink fur, that Cam rocks.
Fucking the NBA patch jeans.
Yeah.
Those went-
Bandana fucking Timberlands.
Yeah.
Those went gangbusters.
Yeah.
I think Jim was like the first cat on the
Ed Hardy
the
wave.
motorcycle. All that.
Biker chains.
Oh, Ed Hardy had a run.
Yeah.
What? They had a run. Hey, what was
I
the
was
most?
gone. I was gone the whole time. I was
You missed all of
I
that.
missed all of that.
You saved a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a great way to think of it.
Because you
Save the
just
telephone.
have these photos to look at, upset with yourself that you was buying that shit.
Word.
The Ed Hardy jeans,
I
bro.
was. I had
rhinestones on the
I had
pockets?
photos though. I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, why the fuck was I buying $300 jerseys? And
Oh, when that craze was happening. What was that? 2003, 2002.
I went in.
What was it? The hardwood, the Michelin-esque.
Michelin-esque.
And then they had like hardwood classics.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But remember, so I was in the military those times, and cats that was based in Korea were able to bring home them jerseys at a fraction of the
nothing.
cost.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were literally taking orders.
Did you ever wear two-tone do-rags?
Two-tone.
I never was in
You
a
know what?
do-rag.
Yeah, I actually had a
Yeah,
couple two-tone
man.
do-rags.
Is that a
Well, like
thing?
red on one side, blue on the other side.
It was just a bad time in life, bro.
Yeah, I actually
You
had a
didn't know if
couple
you wanted
joints.
waves or if you wanted to make a fashion
A statement. Yeah.
I had the red and black do-rag.
Yo, what was the most influential hip hop thing that you actually tried to do in real life? Like it came, you seen it in a music video, you heard it in the song, and you actually tried to do it. For me, it was wearing my pants backwards like Criss Cross.
Definitely tried
I got
it in
my
the
ass
mirror.
whooped for that.
Yeah, I did that.
I got.
All right, so I'm gonna take it back in the day. I'm gonna date myself, but I actually used to leave out of the house and then take my laces out of my shoes. So back in the day, in the Run DMC era, I'm old, y'all. My Run DMC era used to wear no shoelaces with the joints. So come on with this bullshit, dog.
hilarious.
We getting off to a right. We on the right foot.
Asking a question.
We got family in the building and shit. You want to cut up already? Like
I just asked.
we 2 minutes in, bro.
Were you wearing
Yeah.
Adidas? That's it.
So I'm all right. Let me real quick. Let me. No, I'm gonna keep it real. I started out as an Adidas cat because I was on my Run DMC shit, right? But I moved to KRS-One, and KRS-One came out with a beef with these niggas. He was like, "Yo, kings lose crowns. See, they was the king of rock. There's none higher." He was like, "Kings lose crowns, but teachers stay intelligent." And he was only wear Nikes, not Adidas or Reeboks. So he started the Nike movement. Yeah, y'all don't know about that.
You're not gonna say that KRS-One started the Nike.
What?
movement.
Who did then? In the rap culture, he did.
I don't know.
What?
Who did that?
I know. Somebody got to Google that.
Come on, because you're 32. How old is you?
34.
How 34? Yeah. Come on, somebody can Google that. EA.
He's middle-aged.
Let him know. Yo, the first nigga that had a posse, that had a gang, was BDP, Boogie Down Productions. They was rolling. They had their own gear. They had everything. Everybody biting off the teacher.
Was niggas wearing British Nike? What is it? British Nike?
BKs, all that,
BKs,
yo.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Shit. Pull that shit up, big dog.
I remember I cut a pair of. It looked like Burberry, but it wasn't. But it was just plaid, and I remember
You put it on the Air Ones?
tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
We did. So, yo, I
had
was
a
selling that
soldering
shit.
gun and some in a plaid T-shirt. and
you
this
was ahead
shit
of your
felt
You was ahead of your time. So
miserable.
You was ahead of
we
your
in
time.
02, 03, I had a store in the mall, and we was taking the Air Ones. And then, matter of fact, we was going uptown, getting some shit that looked like Air Ones, and putting the fabric on it, coming back, $150 for them shits. I was paying like $12 for them sneakers uptown.
Yeah.
Man, niggas getting all them shits. Man, we got rich off of white tees. Oh, you know what I mean? White tees. I saw niggas come up with white tees all day long.
I had the era of the 4X white tee. The long
Word, the
joint.
big joints, the long, extra long joints come down to your knees, man.
So I was looking who to blame for that for a long time. That's you. That was you.
Nah, it's Cam
You
Ronaldo.
wear your jerseys like that too? You wear the jerseys all the way down to your knees?
Jersey,
too?
everything was
Like
big,
a 4X?
man. Everything was big, man. Shit.
So you had the big tee and
Nah,
the
I'm gonna
big
keep it real
jersey.
with, but we gotta get to my man. Fuck me. But look, check it out. This is the last thing I got to say. This is you always take your adversity and turn it to your advantage. I went home one day and I was trying to throw on something to wear, and I was looking like, yo, I ain't got nothing to wear. But I'm staring at 100 of these fucking jerseys. Now, what nigga can look at 250 hats and 100 jerseys and tell himself he ain't got nothing to wear?
Wow.
At that point, I started doing the math, and I was like, yo, $300 a piece, 100 jerseys. Yo, I could have opened up a store for 50 fucking grand. So I opened up a store like a couple weeks later and shit like that.
Stocked it with your
All that shit
your
went
jersey?
back to the cleaners. And that shit was what we put on display to start the motherfucking joint with. You think I'm
So you was ahead of your time, too, doing a resale joint.
Nah, I was already stretching coke, so I've been repurposing shit. I've been re-rocking shit. We've been redoing shit.
Reuse
Right?
and
all that
repurpose
shit.
and all that
Resell, all that shit.
Yo,
But
how rude are we, bro? We got a guest in the house. We didn't
You
even
feel like
introduce-
family.
I don't feel like a guest.
man, this
family.
nigga family. You
We
ain't hear
got
what
a
I just
family.
said?
All right, so we got somebody family that's on the pod that you've never seen before from us. You might have seen them somewhere else. Yo, we talk about. I think this pod is what's cool is that this pod has a blend of culture, hip hop, and business, right? And in a sense that not from watching it, but from like the experience of doing it. You know, Rod and Lynch is heavy in the hip hop culture, like songs they play. That's what they do. We've also ran entrepreneurship, business. We've done all aspects of things, and it's dope because we got somebody that is in the current day music business, but not just like, you know, he got mixtapes or like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's you a music executive, right?
Damn, I guess so.
Yeah, I was about to say you're a music executive.
By
so
default, right? Yeah.
you know,
By default. I want to hear that part too.
by default. So just introduce yourself to everybody.
Name's Sean Formosa, one of the co-founders of LVRN, which is Love Renaissance, a record label and management company, founded in Atlanta, but we also have offices everywhere from Los Angeles, London, Lagos.
Lagos.
Yeah.
What's the Lagos connection?
Half of my partners are from Lagos or Nigerian. But yeah, I mean, you know, we started as party promoters, which I think is very common, like
Segue.
Yeah, it's like the common denominator of if you're able to get people in a building and believe that you're about to give them a good experience and you can make them come back to that same building week after week, it's almost like the same thing as bringing them to music one way or the other. So I think, you know, that was our common ground that we found with each other, you know, at the end of high school, going into college. And then slowly you get to a point in your life where you're like, wait, am I going to be a promoter forever? And you don't want to be that. So then you end up being or finding yourself on the other side of instead of paying the artist to come perform at your club, you go and find the artist so you can get paid to go to the club. And then, you know, just slowly it kind of tumbleweeds into whatever you can make it. You know?
Yo, hold on, because we got to unpack that real quick.
Yeah, that
so
was different.
instead of, that was a bar, right? Instead of paying the artist to come to the club and you be on the backside of it because you lose a lot of money when you're doing them
it's
joints,
so
right?
volatile. Like we can promote for. There's been times we promote for 4 weeks. We got Gucci Man coming, then Gucci gets locked up. You could promote for 4 weeks, biggest 4th of July party ever, then it rains.
Yeah.
Then I remember there was probably like 2009. There used to be this club in Atlanta called Club Miami. We were having what would have been at our time like the biggest New Year's Eve party ever. Those nights back then, like $40,000 easy you could make at the door. I remember it was like 11:59. And I was just curious. I walk outside to go see how long the line is because I know it has to be wrapped around the building 3 times. Nobody in line. But there's 50 police cars and ambulances and fire trucks. They shut down the entire line at like 11. And I didn't even know. I was inside partying because it's already packed inside.
You know you about to win.
I already know I'm about to win. It's an easy win. It's a lick.
Layup.
Go outside, fire marshal shut everybody down in the city. We lost like losing money on New Year's Eve is unheard of.
Right.
So like
Can't
with
miss.
those type of L's, it's like let's figure something else out. But to your point, it's a common progression. It's like
Which proves what I just said. You can always take your adversity and turn it into your advantage.
for sure.
And that's one of the things that we actually teach.
Talk about it 100%. I don't even rock with nobody that ain't faced no adversity.
I swear, man.
I hear that.
So tell us more about your record label and kind of like, first, who's on the label right now?
Some of our bigger acts are artists like Black, Summer Walker. On the management side, we have DeVito, DJ Spinner.
Hold on, back up now. Don't cruise over DeVito real quick, because y'all may not know, but I be in Afro beats every day.
Yeah.
DeVito, he's huge, bro.
Yeah,
Hey,
he
real
is.
quick. So I know you're gonna be like, man, this nigga keep cutting me off and everything, but like I'll be on a barbershop flow. You know what I'm saying? So I just like real quick, I just want to say I'm about to get major cool points from my daughters. I got one that's 29 and one that's 20 because of the Summer Walker thing. So you know I'm up here.
No, I'm glad I could do that for you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I appreciate that, big
Yeah,
dog.
you get to be the cool dad today.
Yeah, because sometimes they be hating on the nigga. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So you got, all right, cool. So who else you got on there?
And then a lot of up and coming acts. I think one thing that we're known for is our development process.
Okay.
Which
is rare now these days in record labels.
All of our artists that have got to the level that we've gotten them to have been from inception. Black was one of our first artists. We slept on couches together. Summer Walker was cleaning houses and dancing at night.
I love it.
When we met her, she had face tattoos and taught herself how to play the guitar on YouTube. So, 9 times out of 10, we're not looking for artists that are already super established and making moves and things of that nature. I think we like to be a part of the process because storytelling is
a part of the sale. It's a part of the character.
Yeah, that's like narrative design, storytelling, making people feel like we don't make music, but we do a really good job at creating the world for people to love music. So, because the reality is like a song could be amazing, but if nobody preps you for that song, you're doing yourself a disservice.
It's no, I get what you're saying.
Like let me tell you this beautiful story about what you're about to hear or what you're about to see before you see it, and it gives me that much more of a leg up when you actually hear it. When it actually falls on your ears, you're like, all right, cool. Well, I know something about it already. So
I think that's why R&B for a while had like such a good connection, because if you look at like, like for example, like the Usher albums, like Confessions 1 and 2, that you saw that play out, and then you heard it in wax,
Word.
and it was like you now were like, I seen that happen. I see what go
But
down.
that
I know
was
who you talking
organic.
about.
That probably wasn't as.
But it lends to the storytelling part of setting somebody up to receive
Absolutely.
an album, because he could have made an album not about that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And it was like, no, you need to talk about this, bro.
Yeah.
And the other thing it does is I think it creates a relationship. It creates a relationship with the music and creates a relationship with the artist. And that's why, like, if an artist gets hurt or passes away, like, you're sad, because it's like when Biggie died, it's like, man, I had a connection with Biggie.
Connected. Yeah.
It's
connecting
like,
to a song, connecting to a human is two different things. And I think that's still the everyday fight, making sure that somebody loves your artist more than they love any song that they have. Because you could hear it's funny. I always find myself, I'll first hear a new artist and I may not like their voice, but after a while you can get used to somebody's voice, and then it's almost like what you expect from them is them not to have the best voice in the world, but you love this about them. Maybe you love their raspiness, or you love how offbeat they are. So it's almost like you can acquire the taste for people as long as they're giving you something to enjoy in the meantime.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
what's the foundation of? I heard you say that you don't make music, but you know how to make people feel.
Yeah.
Where is that like a part of who you are? Did you develop that, or like where did that come from?
I grew like in school. I used to love writing persuasive papers for some reason.
Gotcha.
Like I love changing people's opinions about something. And then the other part is being a promoter. A promoter, like, you're a salesman, right? But you're actually giving an experience, right? So everything from how good the flyer looks to the mood of the music to who you have DJing to whatever the theme is for the night. And I think all those different things are the same things that we repurpose in the music industry. Like we're really known for our really disruptive like marketing activations and just off the wall branding and thinking in the way that we get people to pay attention initially. So I think as we get bigger and as it gets harder and harder because everybody's fucking attention spans are just dwindling in real time, right? So like nowadays you're not fighting your release versus another artist's release. You're fighting that new show that just came out on Netflix. You're fighting somebody just rather being on TikTok and flipping rather than being on Spotify. So the amount of enemies that you have out there is a lot. So that makes the music have to be that much more better. Makes the marketing have to be that much more better.
Which in turn is the overall experience, and you never have strayed away from giving that experience, which makes you super fucking dope.
It's I think with growing, you know, at this point it started with 5 of us. It's like 22. We have like 22 to 25 employees now. And I think our hardest moments were realizing what each of us do amazing as individuals in our own worlds, in our own departments, finding a way to spread that to the rest of the team with a bigger roster, with more responsibilities. And then you realize, wait, running a business and breaking artists isn't the same thing. Like breaking an artist is like we're in the room together coming up with ideas. What color should it be? We can argue about colors all day. And then at the end of the day, somebody got to pay for this light bill or whatever the case may be. What publicity, like, so
I swear.
Even just like the human parts of it, like this employee's arguing with this employee. How do we streamline these communications? Whose email skills suck? So it's like once you realize there's a whole nother job of running a company and doing what makes the company make money, I think that was the hardest time period of, it took us about 2 years to grow properly because we grew.
You grew faster, but it was harder to figure that stuff out.
Would you agree that you're not a boss until you got employees?
Yeah.
Because it's the true definition of you gotta manage all this shit. You know, like you said, like cutting the artist, like busting the artist. I don't know if you said it, but we say that in Jamaica. We say busting. In Jamaica, we say you bust an artist. So you bust an artist, you gotta like it can happen. It's variable. Right. But like growing a company that can continuously do it over and over again is different. The only variable difference between busting one artist and busting 10 is your staff. And so growing that business really is the human capital side of it. Yeah. And now you're dealing with not only, can somebody send emails? Right. You got personal problems you bring into work that I need to manage. It happens, right? It's the human part of, it's the variable that nobody has ever been able to master. Because growing a business is black and white.
Yeah.
I think managing the personalities and the people within that organization is totally different.
Yeah, I was just gonna say what makes it easier though is because I don't know, but my guess is you sold the people that work at your company an experience as well. You created an irresistible offer for them to be in a dope environment, to be tied to a dope vision, and so that makes it easier.
So that's a great point, but it came in waves, right? Because the first people you hired are the homies. Right. It's like the first people you hired are the ones that were closest to you, that kind of were a part, in osmosis of the grind, people that you kind of felt indebted to one way or the other. And then you realize sometimes those weren't the best hires for what you wanted them for. Or, sometimes people, when they're too close to what they see as their success, they kind of leverage against it as if it's their own as well, right? So you go through that process of, damn, we can't really hire the homies anymore. Then you go for
skill set.
Right. Then you go for he's young, but he has so much potential, right? But what I realize is don't hire 5 kids with a lot of potential. Right. Because trying to train 5 people that have all the potential in the world is a whole nother job in itself, right?
There's companies for that. There's separate companies.
So then you get to the next level of, all right, cool, let's overpay somebody that we know is super senior, and then you realize we're not ready for them yet. In fact, their skill set is so high that we thought we were that busy or we needed them, but their capacity, like now we're just overpaying, right? So I think now we finally hit that sweet spot of having middle and senior management, but as well as a couple of people with amazing potential and trajectory. So it's almost like this funnel of being able to, everybody, it's like a village, people can kind of take care of each other, and, each position has everybody knows their pathway to wherever they kind of want to be.
Yo, I've never heard this conversation from any record label executive ever. It's all about what they produce for the consumer, but they never talk about, and that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation on the Endgame, because there is more to this than
100%.
that. Now let's talk about like the early days, right? So when did you kind of form the record company, management company?
Officially around 2012.
So all right, let me back up. So 2012, that's probably 10, 11 years ago. I'm still gonna say that back then, people weren't trying to think that they could go into and start a record label. Right. So like, what gave you, other than your promotion back, what made you be like, and what separated you and your team?
Yeah, we did it. We didn't know that we were creating a record label.
Okay.
The reality is, there was an artist at the time. His name was Rory. We all felt super passionate about him. He was a mixture of like Coldplay meets Outkast, right? A really interesting black kid from Stone Mountain. Alternative hip hop, global music potential, and all we knew was myself and the other 4 guys like believed in him, put money behind him, moved him around. Eventually landed there was a crazy bidding war. Ended up at Sony, Columbia Records. Australia 4 times, Europe 10 times. Like we did the gauntlet, right? But we're still not a record label. We're just these managers. But the reality is we didn't realize we were operating like a record label the entire time, because as a manager, one, you're not supposed to use your own money, because you're supposed to manage an existing career.
Correct.
Right. So like the amount of ourselves that we're pouring into somebody was what a label does.
Record label
and at the end of the day, like,
it's an investment with a high risk.
Yeah, standard commission is like 20%. When you think about 5 gentlemen sharing 20%, like it takes $1 million to make 60K.
Right.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
bust that down.
Right.
Max.
So
I'm
it's
going back to work.
Right. So even the way that we were participating at the time didn't really even make sense, right? So, but that wasn't the first time that we had to learn that lesson. We learned a lesson a couple times, and every time we would find an artist, build the artist up, make the whole world love it, then ultimately give it to another label. You know what I'm saying? Turn ourselves from being able to be the label to confirming that we're just managers.
Wow.
So we did that like 3 times until we had Black. And this is the first time we had a little bit of money in our pockets. We did deals here and there. So
from them big ass deals, it really wasn't.
In hindsight, we had no money, right?
Okay.
But
I know that feeling when you look back.
I don't even want to say looking back. I'm saying in it. What made you, say?
I mean, think about it. He had to bust to make you got to make $1 million to bust down 60.
Right, and we weren't making millions. I'll say that, but yeah, our cost of living was that much lower, right? But we got to a point where we had enough money to reinvest in this particular artist in a way that we could finally perform as a label and do something independent. And that was Black.
How you find somebody like Black? Because for me, Black is a dope artist, bro.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I remember the album cover when he's sitting on the bed.
Yeah,
it's
with
black
the
and white. Yeah, that album is dope.
Yeah, and this is the power of being in the streets, especially as a promoter or ex-promoter at the time. Everybody, we were everybody's first call, because we were still in college. We had one foot in we were interning for Ludacris at the time, so everybody knew we had one foot in a real building, like DTP, they know somebody. Yeah. And we had another foot in the clubs and just being out and about. So we were naturally that entry point for a lot of people.
Yeah, you was kind of like the soft entry point,
the plug,
easy, right? But one of our close friends, another promoter, put us on the Black. Black came over one day and stayed for 6 months. And just
Wow.
He said he came one day and stayed for 6 months.
Every day he would just record in the kitchen. And this is around the same time that we had the artist Rory. So
you had a studio in the kitchen?
We had a studio in the kitchen, and Black would watch us go in and out of the country, wherever we were going with Rory at the time. But he would just be in the kitchen, just recording. But nonetheless, we got Black to a point that every label wanted him. I remember sending out an email to. At this point, we know every label is that, because we've made this mistake 4 times or 3 times at this point of just selling off artists.
Right.
And, we respectively just send the email out and say, hey, guys, we're going to do this one independently. We don't, you know, you don't need to fly us out to come do these meetings or the fancy dinners and the courting process.
Yeah.
You know this one.
Yeah, like we like all of y'all, but save y'all money. We're gonna do
right,
this one
got this.
independently. And everybody was like, all right, cool. But then we were in LA one day and we got a phone call from Joey Manda, Joey IE, like legendary record exec. And he's like, yo, got your email, that's cool and all, but yeah, just come say hi. You're in town, just come say hi. So we go and say hi, and the conversation was different. He was like, yo, the reality is we've been in a bidding war every time you guys have brought an artist out. We've always lost this bidding war. It would be silly for us to think that the power is not equally in you guys as it is in whatever talent that you're finding. So let's go into business with you guys, give you guys a JV, a label, essentially, and let's just do business together.
So now you're a true independent record label.
Now we're a true independent record label.
So the rise of that's kind of dope.
Well, before you even go to that, I want you to kind of explain the difference to me. Like,
Yeah, so
business wise, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So up until that point, it's you get whatever your designated percentages off of whatever that artist brings in.
Gotcha.
First, being able to be a part of either ownership of the material itself, because ultimately during this time period when an artist does a deal with a major, they no longer own anything.
Right.
And if they're selling it off, then we basically sold it off too. So now you're only able to eat in one way, right? But being a JV or a proper JV, now you eat in the same way that the labels do.
So did you guys own the publishing, or did the major own the publishing?
So that's a whole separate business in theory, right? So like we do have a publishing company at this point. And granted, during this time period, this is like 2 years into streaming, if that. Like Apple Music just launched maybe a year prior. So like the shift in this is right when music was coming out of that insane slump of figuring out,
What is it?
what is
What
it,
are-
right?
How will
streams?
record companies make money?
What are
Exactly,
streams?
exactly.
Where's the sales going?
So it's funny, like even in hindsight, you can do all this shit in hindsight, but the deal that we did, our initial deal with Interscope Records, if we would have did it 6 months later, it would have looked totally different because there was so much more money in the industry, right? But the money
more
that
information, a little bit more information.
and the money that we got, reinvested it immediately. We had the smallest. I always say after we bought the smallest chains in hip hop, and everything else went to building out a studio and an office that we had in the city.
So
And hindsight was genius, right?
So what does that deal look like? Is it like here's a bunch of money up front, or you earn like an earn out, or what?
Right,
How does that look like?
The structure of what it would look like initially is, here is a certain amount of money for you to fund your label, right?
Gotcha.
And usually they'll break it up in quarters.
Because the story is Diddy got $10 million to go start Bad Boy.
And that's when niggas was selling hard CDs
Right,
about $1 million, right?
right.
Yeah.
So so you'll have a certain amount of money that you'll be able to count on quarterly, aka yearly, but they'll give it to you quarterly. They'll give you a certain amount of money for your pockets because we're ultimately acquiring or licensing your company for a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
You'll have deliverables, like you have to put out this many albums a year. You'll have to at least sign this many acts a year or bring them to us.
So you got KPIs that you got to hit.
100%, right?
Okay.
And then you have a parameter of the size of deal that you can offer another artist, right? So an artist, whenever you sign an artist, it wouldn't come out of your budget. It comes out of the bigger pot, right?
Gotcha.
But we can't go do a $2 million deal because that's the whole purpose
Just
of
lopsided.
doing the deal with us is because we find artists early that are
Right.
we can't become LVRN and then go try to sign Justin Bieber.
Right.
Nah, they can
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
like that.
That's
Right.
their bank.
Right.
We're supposed to go find the up and coming artists that that we can all develop together. But yeah, but we blew that deal out the water in like 2 years. Read up, huge check at the time. Blew that out the water in 18 months. So then we're like, oh wait.
So let me back up. So those checks are for you and your partners to develop the record label, right? And you saying that check that you're getting does not count against when you sign an artist. That's still coming from the major?
No. So it won't come out of your actual budget that you have, but it does work against you. You still have to You still have to recoup that.
You got to perform it out.
Yeah, you have to perform it out. But it doesn't come out of what you consider your own overhead, right? So your overhead to take care of whatever staff you have if you want to pay yourself, which we never did. Your building, all of that is included in whatever they consider your overhead for the year. And, again, up front, they'll give you a little bit of money on the side. But yeah, I mean, so but the reality is, not to get too deep into the business, but you have to recoup on your side of the 50% of your joint venture.
Gotcha.
So there's a distribution. Let's say they get 20% of everything off top. So the reality is almost like you end up having minimal funds or income or revenue rather against what you're actually bringing in. So the amount of money that goes towards recouping the deal is so much less than what you're actually bringing in.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were still blowing out our deals,
I was about to say, y'all was still killing it
like,
with that.
When you
that
look at a
handicap.
statement and you see, let's just say $10 million came in and you have to split it so many ways still. And mind you, our relationship with Interscope to this day is beautiful. And
it's just a business. Most people don't understand the business.
And without them, we wouldn't be able to be where we are, right? But at the end of the day, it's just eye opening as you constantly, get to see more and more of how things can work. And next time you have the opportunity to rearrange your deal or change your deal to things that you would tweak and things of that nature. So it's merely a learning process. And they say contracts only come out 2 times, when things are going really good and when things are going really bad.
So I have like in businesses, I've always had people on the team that I was like, you're going to go do your own thing one day. And I encourage that, right? So I can only imagine having that JV deal and y'all are thinking, because we're learning, we're getting better, we're getting better. We're going to go do our own thing and we're going to have the major instead of the JV deal. Yeah. So did that play out?
Yeah. So, I mean, fast forward 7 years being, going through that process of those deals. Because there's been times that we would have been able to, if we want, leave. But the relationship was amazing. They would always take care of us when it came time to have a decision to either extend our deal or not. But recently, we took on a private investor during the same time process of us. When is this going to come out?
Whenever you tell it to us.
All right, cool. We're completely independent now.
Okay.
So yeah, so we had a conversation over the last year with Matt Pincus, and he created this company, this holding company called Music, which is like 3 different families. They raised like $200 million, and we did a valuation, which is something we never even really thought to do. Like you never really think like, how much are we worth? I know how much is in my
We talk about it on this show. We talk about it.
Yeah. And I think it's we were talking earlier. It's so dope to see how others perceive you. Granted, I mean, there's formulas for it and shit, so it's not like someone just like flipping a coin. But to realize that all of your work that you've done in it doesn't even seem like 10 years, but it seems like a short amount of time.
It is a short amount of time.
Yeah. Decade just flies.
Yeah,
right?
and you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about art at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is like music. It's something that makes you feel a way. And somebody's saying, oh, no, like, that's worth this.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow. So it's a ton of liquidity out there.
Yeah.
Why is all of this VC money all of a sudden flowing into the music industry?
No, well, hold on a second, because I had a question, because before, as your story started to progress, I'm sitting in my head, I'm like, all right, why you keep going back to the majors, bro? And so I was going to ask you, because a lot of people don't know. We can only sit from a position of our theory on other business shit and be able to try to lend it into music. Mm-hmm. So is the only reason you go back to the majors because they got the capital?
They got the machine.
It's capital, and it's a false sense of comfort.
Yeah.
A lot of people still believe that there's this magic red button under the desk that when they get to push it, you become like the biggest star in the world.
Hold on real quick. What the fuck is you talking about, man? That's the same thing y'all argue for 20 minutes on the last podcast about. the comfort would be this dude going back to the. All right, but we got my man.
That's totally different. That's totally different.
It's
100%. But anyway.
It's not.
We all
The people said. I'm sorry.
Yo, we had an argument.
Hold on. The people said y'all didn't understand the point of the big guy. That's what the people said. I was just saying. Okay, I'm done.
So
I'm back.
Now, listen. I mean, I think there's a cultural standpoint of we all grew up wanting a Def Jam jacket, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can get you one for like $40.
That rock chain.
They don't know that, right?
I can get you one
they
for
think you
$40
got to sign
and a
again,
chain.
right?
Dude, I was at a wedding, and the dude that came to the wedding, everybody else suited up. He got on his Def Jam jacket.
But no, I mean, but listen, like, you know, you can sign to a major and it can work. You can sign to a major and it cannot work. You can sign to an independent. You can try to do it yourself and it work. You could try to do it yourself and it not work.
But I think work is relative, right?
People always want somebody to blame, and they never want to blame themselves.
So they never go independent.
Independent is the first place you have to blame yourself. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
It's where accountability.
You're on the team, but you running track. It's a track team. I didn't run the fastest 100, so who else we gonna look at?
It's accountability. Like accountability at its highest is being independent.
Right.
I know you said that the relationship was good with Interscope, right? Mm-hmm. And not to bash it, because I don't know anything about this business, but looking at the statements at the end of your contracts before you go re-sign another one, you're a college graduate. You and your partners understand math. Did it continuously make sense, or did you start to sit down at the coffee table or at the house and be like, "Yo, we brought that in"?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to one of my partners and best friends, Tunde, who, to your point about why do people keep running back to the label versus trying something different? Tunde is like the most creative businessman that we have, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because he progressively thinks about what a deal's supposed to look like. Because you'll sign a deal for 5 years today, but the entire industry changed by the time you hit year 3. So we started doing deals that look different now for what we think is going to be, and having those type of conversations.
It sounded like you only had 2-year deals anyway.
Our first deal was 3 years.
Okay.
Then we had an extension for about another 3 years.
Got you. Because you blew the first one out in 2 years.
But
and then
the reality is you can renegotiate. Contracts come out when things are going really good or really bad. So when things are going really good, you can have a conversation. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Why not keep us happy? We're making each other money, right? So let's have a conversation early, right? So I think you get to a point where they might want to have a conversation with you early because they see how things are going.
Right.
And
it's
when you get those conversations, it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let us go have some other conversations as well. And when, to your point, when you see some VC money, or you've understood the ins and outs so much that you realize there's a lot of and again, we were always a label even when we were managers. So we understand all of the work that it takes to do what was done. What we never had was the capital. And
so let me back it up, because I'm sitting here and I'm learning from you. I'm a label is nothing but a private equity firm that hands out chains that looks different. And I'm not here to diss. I don't know this industry, but I'm saying
it's a little bit more though.
No, but here's what I'm saying. I'm talking about in the last 10 years. I'm not talking about back in the 80s and 90s when there was, in the early 2000s, was so much artist development.
Right.
I'm saying in the last 10 years, it's nothing but a private equity fund that is able to charge way more for its money because it wears the hat of a label, right? So let me back up.
I think it's more like a strip club.
But
I think a label is more like a strip club.
It could be, but let me get
zero value.
Yeah.
For somebody that's dope.
I won't say zero. I don't know, but I won't say zero. But here's what I'm saying: who backs a label?
Who backs the label?
Who backs a label?
The owners of the label.
Which are people who have what?
Right. Capital or access to capital.
Private equity. The label is backed by private equity at the end of the day,
or private investors,
which is private equity.
Okay.
It's not. It's
not Bank of America.
Yeah, correct. So at the end of the day, they have to return a percentage of money borrowed on the dollar. Mm-hmm. But because they wear a different hat, you end up, when you borrow money from a big family, you become private equity at some point, right? If you're going to redistribute the same funds in a way that right? So, but if you wear a different hat while you're giving out this money, you can charge more for the same funds that you got from old boy. It's not that, because the money from the first guy is the same money that you're getting from the second guy, but this other guy's like, no, I'm a label. So here's what I'm going to restructure this. He's going to give you a contract that will never make sense from anybody else.
Oh, right.
Like the way that we're going to get 20% off the top, which leaves you with 80%. And out of the 80%, we're going to split that again, which is 50%. And out of the 50% you're going to have to start recouping the money back to me out of everything. But the 20% that we got up here, that don't mean nothing that you gave me back. That's not actually going towards the recoupment. That's just what we need to be able to stay afloat.
Right.
So the bust down is absolutely insane. But a guy that's just handing you a check could never ask for that. Because he's not wearing a hat that says Interscope, Def Jam, whatever. He's not wearing that.
Strip club. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Magic City.
I mean, a label pitch meeting still sounds the same. We have these resources and these
absolutely.
resources, and I mean, the reality is you get to like you only need to introduce me to somebody one time for me to
Right,
not
to
have a relationship.
All you got to do is pay
right?
them.
You know, like at the end of the day, you want a TV channel? Cool, YouTube. You want a publicist? Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like you want a portfolio, Instagram.
Right.
You want to scream to people, TikTok, whatever. Like, so all of these tools, we all have access to them. Now, there's a sense of how big can you get without a major label? There's some argument there because, you know, radio still is a Stone Age.
Is it?
Type of radio isn't the most important thing, but if you want to be the biggest thing in the world, somebody needs to be playing you on the radio, right? So in that conversation, it's a deep conversation, but a lot of times major labels need to be a part of it.
I agree, because I know there's many people in radio. There's a pay to play scenario when it comes to radio.
Matt said that, not me.
Yeah, I said that. I said that's always been that's always, anybody that works in industry never says it. But people that work on I know program directors. I know people that rock at radio stations. I have, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I paid money.
I was going to say, you're about to say you paid to play?
Absolutely, I have. When I was working with artists out of Jamaica and stuff like that, I spent the money.
Gotcha.
Right? To go on those runs. You know what I mean? And so it's no different.
Yeah, is Max dropping names?
Listen,
it's
just
throwing his hands up.
It's no different than getting on today's pod, because today's pod is the new radio. So certain guests are like, yo, you want to come on? It's 40,000.
Yeah.
You want to get on? It's 20,000. Like it's the same thing. Like, but instead of it's rappers, it's now people that got products. Right. So it's the same thing. So my thing with this whole scenario is, I don't know who's still valuing radio. It may be because we still value the Grammys and we still value the top 100 Billboard and we still value those things because they count those plays towards you being valued up here. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, the new radio is TikTok. Like, if you get a viral sound, you may not watch it like this, but I'm telling you, I have known songs without knowing them. I've known the first 12 seconds of so many songs, and then I hear it on the radio, I'm like, yo, that's my joint, or hear it somewhere.
You got to think though. You mentioned it on the podcast that you've done in the past about how many times you have to hit somebody until it turns into a transaction, right?
6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Each one of these platforms is a different hit, right?
Correct.
Right.
And on TikTok, you might be getting hit for 15 seconds, depending on how long that clip is, right?
Right.
So radio at the end of the day is the casual listener, it's the lazy listener, it's the soccer mom. So no matter how big a song may be on TikTok or, you know, any streaming service, you know you've made it when you hear somebody that's not supposed to know that song. And I think that's ultimately what it kind of takes to be one of the biggest in the world.
I'm in Target and I hear she's probably 45, 50-year-old white woman. You know how sometimes you just kind of walk along, you hum. She's walking along rapping Big Pimpin'. And I'm like, how? How did that happen?
That probably hit a commercial.
I think that had to be in the formula too, in the valuation formula, like all those radio spins that you guys get.
And again, you can, when it comes to, and there's a certain amount of money at times, because, you know, even in our, whatever our independence is, we can take on an artist and say, all right, let's partner with this label on this one because their radio department is actually good. Everything else we can take care of. And you can do a deal that's just a P&D, right? So that's literally, you just are distributing, right? You're going to give us money for marketing and you're just going to distribute. So we're not in bed with each other in the same way that we were if we did like a traditional deal, but this is a promo and distribution. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you a question then. So you get with, what was the company, Music, the private equity, Music, something like that, and I don't know, what
I bet that deal don't look like the old deals.
Yeah. I don't know.
They want a return on investment. That's it.
I don't know what that deal looks like, right? But now you're responsible for radio, right?
In theory, yeah.
In theory, right? You're responsible for radio, and you're responsible for distribution too.
So we're responsible for distribution, but we'll always get a distribution partner, right? But
explain that to me because I want to understand.
Right.
Well, I think Rod.
You seen his old.
So
Fist bump, bro.
No, hell no. Because I seen you. I seen in the group text you was very silent when I sent you over certain texts.
I don't have to respond to certain things.
Because you got to think like at the end of the day, distribution is bigger than going on TuneCore and uploading a song and hitting enter and hoping for the best, right? There's pitching involved. There's the placement of like, are we gonna get what playlists? Are we gonna get what? Are we gonna get the cover of new R&B and all of those different things? It's like there's certain things that aren't worth your time. I'll say that there's certain things that aren't worth your time in the independent business.
You're not gonna fix your own sink at the crib. Just call the plumber.
You know what I'm saying? So if it takes 10%, because granted, now it's a different conversation. It might be 10% versus what all the different ways that people get broken off when you're in a traditional deal. So I think certain things are better to be able to just be given to somebody to
But then that's a whole different conversation because now you're just hiring a distribution partner.
And they don't own.
It's not a deal. It's like you're hiring, hey, look, for this percentage, you get this. It's not necessarily a deal like it was in the past.
he said that last week. Yeah, he said that last week.
What he say?
I got to go with him on that one. He said that last week.
What did he say last week?
EA, I need you to be a partial party.
No, that shit's dumb. I don't want to hear. You.
I said the same thing.
No, bro, I'm not.
I said the exact.
Bro, I'm not. Listen, if Kanye, will Kanye go? Nah, y'all want to bring this up? Let's talk about it.
No, I didn't bring it up.
No.
I got more questions. I got more questions for the king right here.
Get me started.
So
I'm taking notes over here.
So I'm a ghostwriter.
Bro, you just because you got
in
ChatGPT
Hold on. Let me finish. Can I? I'm a ghostwriter. I can write a hook.
Hypotheticals?
No, I can write a hook. I can write 3-verse R&B song.
Let's hear
I
something.
can write 16 bar rap song. I can sound like Biggie. I can sound like Eminem in my writing, and I should get hired, right? So if I tell you that, you believe me? You don't believe me? All right. So what if I tell you I got help? If I tell you I got a ghostwriter that helps me write my ghostwritten stuff, and my ghostwriter is ChatGPT.
Then we got to go to DC.
Okay.
And we got to figure out what they're gonna end up ruling this ChatGPT stuff when it comes to who owns what.
So
lawsuits coming.
Yeah,
So
it's not gonna be as
we
smooth
talked about this in the pod. We talked about this.
I partly agree with you, right?
You brought it up.
If I put the prompt in, and the prompt is the instructions or the directions, and what comes out right now, they say what comes out, I own, right? Because I'm not plagiarizing.
Well, there's an algorithm or a site that's kind of I saw it go live for the kids that are having ChatGPT do their thesis and shit.
Yeah.
Right?
They're checking it.
So right. So there's I guess a reverse algorithm that can say
Plagiarism
They
checks.
took it from
Right.
there.
AI
They can do
written.
plagiarism
Therefore,
checks, yeah.
like if something can be done in that same way of like, oh well, we took a little bit from Drake and took a little bit from Eminem to create this verse that he now owns. If that same thing can be created in this scenario, then I wouldn't touch
Are you
it.
concerned about that at all with being a record exec?
I am comfortable not making all the money. You know what I'm saying? I think what we do best is like real human nature stuff. Granted, I'm all for technology. We're doing some stuff for ChatGPT right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think a human touch is always incredibly necessary.
That's what music
Well,
is.
I've been listening to you, and you're an artist.
Oh,
Like,
thanks, man.
yeah,
I do the marketing, so kind of.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're an artist, so I know he's not. He don't give a fuck about that shit.
Yeah, no, it's like use it in a way that
What did you say about people that's not paying attention?
No, that's not. I didn't say no, that's not. Hold on.
That's what you said.
I'm saying as it being a threat. So, like I said, it's only going to make the person who knows what they're getting from it better. They'll be able to enhance it because they still got to put their artistry on it.
Yeah.
So you can't just you just got a whole lot of information. Now you got to be able to do something with that information, or else you just information overload.
and
Nah,
honestly,
bro, we're talking about writing the hook. It's not a whole lot of information.
the way I'm gonna be a part of AI, like we've been having these conversations about there's like these warehouses that are basically all the servers that compute all of the AI because it takes a
Like
lot,
server
right?
farms or
Yeah, so now like let's invest in some of the servers, bro. Like that's you know what I'm saying.
It costs per a chat.
It's expensive.
yeah.
And you had some numbers the other day.
It's like 30 cents.
30
Yeah, compared to like 5 cents for a
Yeah,
Google
nah,
search.
they got some warehouses in,
gotta get that
in
down,
Georgia,
man.
like 10,000 square feet, and you know the cooling systems to keep it running and da 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 da.
Subfloors, all
Yeah,
that.
so if I'm in front of ChatGPT, I'll be on the back.
Yo, let's talk about like the cutthroat nature of the music business and like one topic that comes to my mind.
Can we say that that's a stereotype? Because some
I don't
people
know.
will tell you it's not.
I don't know. That's what I don't, bro. You gotta understand. I've never wrote a hook. I've only enjoyed
I
music
got
from
you.
the perspective of a fan.
I got you.
And you hear about like the 360 deals when they came up. I think Lior is the one who invented that deal structure. I think they gave him credit for. I don't know. What is your take on a 360 deal as a record label independent?
Yeah, so a 360 deal can and cannot make sense depending on who you're in a 360
Explain
deal
that
with.
one, man.
If you're in a 360 deal with LVRN, every avenue that we would participate in or every vertical that we would participate in are verticals that we were actively seeking business.
Yeah.
Now where 360 deal becomes bullyish is when somebody wants 20% of your touring, 20% of your merchandise, of anything with your likeliness and things of that nature, and they don't go get you anything from any of those different places.
So you're saying anything that you put your hand on, it makes sense. But if I say I want to go perform tonight at a local club and they give me $100,000 and you didn't put your hand on that, you didn't schedule that, you didn't manage that.
I mean, so it's there's two ways about it, right? Because I could say everything that I've done for you in the first 6 months, you may not realize it until
That's why you got that call.
Put you in a
Right.
position. Put you in a position.
Right. So I think for us, it's about all of our artists we have an incredibly tight relationship with because they see the amount of work that we do, right?
Yeah.
There's 5 co-founders. There's a 6th GM that we just brought in, Amber Grimes. Like we're at the office till 9 p.m. every night. We're the first ones in there too, right? So I think our relationships from a business side and from a real life human side, there is no doubt that we're supposed to get everything that we do get.
Yeah,
I think when it comes to the bigger labels, the ones that you don't know who does what when you walk in the building with 50 people on the floor, I think that's where it gets a little bit weird when, yes, you haven't done anything. I just went on tour and you just sent me an invoice for X amount of dollars because back in the day, a label would purely be only monetizing the music. Everything else that you did outside of that was yours.
on you.
Yeah.
And you're only monetizing the music. I think where that crashed is obviously when CD sales and that big fluctuation happened. That's when the 360 deal came about. And it hasn't quite disappeared. Granted, there's a lot of artists that aren't in them. And that you can, and the other side of it too, to keep it real, is artists do have to understand what point they're negotiating from when they decide to entertain a deal.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can get a non-360 deal, just be a little bit hotter, wait a little bit longer, put out another
Or
project.
do more damn work.
Do more damn work. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, the business is only it can be cutthroat, right? with or without what I'm about to say.
Any
but,
business.
But it's only as bad as you allow it to be to you,
Yeah.
Okay.
depending on what you agree to.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So a lot of the disgruntled artists that, you know, come out the woodworks 5 years from now, X, Y, and Z, it's like,
20 years from now.
yeah, you know what
20
I'm
years
saying?
from-
So
a lot of doesn't it have to deal with a lot of like ignorance, like just lack of knowledge too?
for sure. I mean, which is what, like, you can't sign to LVRN without us making sure that you have a business manager before we finish the deal.
So y'all vet the
So
manager?
that
We'll give options of people that we think
Okay,
are
gotcha.
great.
But that's a good point, because how we connected anyways is you.
Asked you about a jet, actually.
What's that?
I hit you up if I should buy a jet or not.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that is true. I do remember that. Yeah. And I said, you know.
He said, "Come talk to me."
But you also was like, what made me like really interested in when we started talking was like, he was like, yeah, man, we like to give our artists the whole play. Like, you need financial development, as in like you need to be able to retain, because it makes a happy customer or a happy client or a happy partner if they actually can retain more of the money. So you're talking about, yo, we need financial education. We need more of a mental outlook on life, because yes, you're an artist, but you're still a part of this society, this world, and you got to play a bigger part other than when you step in the studio. What is your record label's take on working with artists beyond music, entertainment, art, you know?
Yeah, for us, we don't sign a lot of artists, whether it be the management or the label, purely because how we view the responsibility of taking on a client. We're here to now change your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of places that sign everything and everybody, and they just throw it against the wall and try to see what sticks, right? Mm-hmm. That's just not our business model, because of the amount of work that we like to put into things. And we're responsible for changing your life. Like, you can't leave worse than you came.
Right.
We're actually quick to release artists in a ways that labels don't. Like, label will just keep you and shove you and hope that something happens one day. No, if something's not working out, we actually would rather just release you and hope that you find it, you know,
somewhere else.
better, better somewhere else. But I say all that to say, like, you know, during COVID, you know, we were the first label to ever develop like a mental health department. Like, any artist on our label has access to a therapist, whether in-house or out of house, and our staff. Like, if you are an employee of LVRN, you have a therapist if you want them.
Yeah, that's why I was excited to talk to you earlier about it, about just like the personal development side of, you know, what you guys got going on, even the back office, the higher ups, you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, you guys got to get your cup filled up, and you got to get poured into, and you know, you got to have some stuff too. So, you know, I was just. We were talking. Yeah,
it can be draining. But and then on the financial side, I think, who wants a broke artist? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just
that's a problem, right?
It's only gonna stress us,
right?
Because you get the phone call of like, yo, whatever happened to those shows, or can we still, like, you can smell when an artist is starting to lose their bread, right? Because like, you start to get questions about like, what are we doing next, and things of that nature, right? So and granted, the inevitable of certain people's situations is what it is, but if we can prep you with as much information and as many resources and business managers that tell you to slow down or that put this away or whatever the case may be, then why wouldn't we? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We don't want our artists to be, I guess, victims of us preying on their ignorance.
Right.
Like, I can't wait till they blow that check. So they have
easy,
to.
Like
we can negotiate
like
3
a
more
lot of these
albums.
culture vultures out here right now.
It's we're the same color as our artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not that many record execs and higher ups that can feel indebted to whomever they bring on. You know what I'm saying? That's how we feel. So.
No, that's
so you feel that connection to them, like, yo, this is
almost like a responsibility.
Yeah,
but it's better for both sides.
Right.
Yeah. That makes.
Do you see, like, so y'all making a lot of moves? I know we got to stick to that. Y'all making a lot of moves with basically shifting the way things are going in the industry. Do you, just while we're here on this topic right here, do you see like you know, a shift to where, you know, that mental health and that personal development, that financial literacy, you know, that type of thing coming in, where you're kind of sitting them down or you're feeding them this information, to where they have You know, they don't just have financial plans, but they also have, you know, that health thing going on. They also have that personal development plan. You know,
I think
that.
in general, artists are getting smarter, which is great. You know, we had a meeting with a potential client the other day, and it was so dope to hear her speak about what she wants in a deal so articulately and so intelligently that you know nobody's going to get tricked. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can say that they didn't know what was going on.
Right.
You know, when artists, you know, like Russ has a very clear understanding of what he's doing and why he's doing it. And if he's not the biggest artist in the world, that's okay with him because he owns all of his music and he understands every time there's streams, I get this much to my account. And if I could make X amount a month, I'm good. I don't need this. I can, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's beautiful because the information is there. There's no lack of information. Like what you could trick somebody with that, you know, the only book within a library, it doesn't exist anymore. You can go on TikTok and figure out what your split's supposed to be, right? But then, you know, the flip side of it is some people are given information that is not for them to use yet. Sometimes you have to get to a certain level for that information to be valid in your
Makes
case.
sense for 'em, yeah.
But ultimately, artists are getting smarter, which is great for a label like us that wants the artist to be smart.
Is streaming fair these days, like for artists or a label?
To be honest, I'm not that guy for it.
Okay.
I gotta call Tunde. I don't know.
Yeah,
Go Tunde.
you're not 100% sure.
What else is important to artists other than money? Because most artists, they do art because they just love it, and then for some, money comes. So what else is important to them?
Every artist is different. Some artists just want to be famous. Some artists just truly want people to hear their music. Some artists want to be able to be as influential as possible, like iconic as possible. But to be honest, like I think what artists may come for and what they leave with is two different things. Because there's artists that come for fame and realize that's the last thing that they want. Right. And
Can't
you know,
spend fame.
Yeah, nah. Someone Walker tells us all the time, like if I could just make these songs and slide it to y'all under the door and go back to what I was doing, I would. You know,
It's dope.
That's super dope.
Yeah, it's everybody's different, I think.
So you talked about that music fund that you guys, the fund is actually called music.
Yeah.
What, like, you now have taken on new investment, truly independent label now. You have so many, I don't know, not so many, but you have some examples to look at from the past, right? Like, was it Master P? You got,
Like right now, today, you got Lil Russell.
Lil Russ, and then you have
Another smart artist.
Yeah. You have a few examples to look at. Do you ever reach back out to some of the OGs to kind of figure out, or is it you've already, your team has broke the play down?
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations that we had in the midst of doing this deal. You know, whether it's just like, you know, checking the temperature of, you know, certain people or just kind of understanding how other people have, you know, made mistakes or not made mistakes in the past. But I personally have a rule of I only listen to about like 60 to 70% of what anybody says.
That's true.
Because one, people will always put their whatever fears or insecurities that they have in themselves on you, as if it's law. And then the other part is like nobody's journey is the same. So I think at the end of the day, the beautiful part about the five of us is that each of us will have a different perspective, and we can make each other feel comfortable about whatever direction that we end up going. So So yeah, I really do think we're kind of writing our own book. But and I also look at people's failures way more than I look at people's accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know why you failed. I don't care how you won because that person didn't have that hit.
Even with some of that advice, like you can only take a portion of it because y'all about to do some shit that them niggas ain't never did anyway. Because they in their comfort zone and all that shit with their majors and all the other shit with their distributions and all that shit.
I have a theory. There's a book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers.
Oh yeah, Outliers.
So my theory is that if you were born between the years of 1986 and 1986 and 1993, 94 maybe, you have an upper hand in the music industry. And my thought process is at age 12, from 10 to 12, Napster was created, right?
Yeah.
So we were the first ones to actually.
I was a part of all that. I'm 84. Hold on. LimeWire, Napster. I seen that whole play go down.
No. But actually, let's take.
I felt left out.
Go ahead, let him go.
Let's take a step back, right? By age 6, 7, my mom bought me my first CD, right? It was Hanson actually, the Bop song, right?
Okay.
Bop, 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 bop.
By age 12, Napster was a real thing, right? Napster, LimeWire, BearShare, right?
You were wearing
around
it
that same age is you can start burning CDs. Everybody has like the computer with the two towers, right?
CompuServe. Dual deck.
About a year and a half, 2 years later, iTunes is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? iPods and things of that nature. My dates might be off, right? But all I'm saying is the age at which technology progressed, we were at the perfect age in order to engage with it in a realist way.
And all of it. Yeah.
So when the music industry initially crashed and you have like Metallica pissed at Napster and CD sales are starting to, like, we don't feel that because we're literally a part of it. So
we were happy about it.
Right. Yeah. So when we officially kind of came into the industry, you have, to your point, like a bunch of old heads that are so used to how things used to be.
Yeah.
And we are constantly thinking about, I have no recollection of what things used to be. So if you're telling me that this is no money, this looks like a lot of money, and we're kind of sculpting whatever the next stage is. Now I am feeling myself starting to age because things that used to work don't work in that with that same velocity, right?
Yeah.
TikTok changed things for sure. COVID changed things for sure. There was a time period during COVID we were scared and we're like, all right, like I know what we think we're good at, but we literally had to purposely unlearn everything that we thought we were good at and learn some new shit because we couldn't be outside and do the same things that we were doing.
Right.
And I think, and then, you know, like you get a little bit older and certain things like aren't your taste anymore. You don't have the energy to do that anymore. You want to focus here. So I think there's just natural progression and there's like cultural progression, there's technology progression, and finding whatever makes the most sense for you is life.
Did y'all keep maintaining that same spirit of innovation after COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's definitely times that, you know, honestly, I've never been scared about good ideas. I've had to can ideas because it won't work anymore, but that's my bread and butter.
Or it won't work yet.
Right.
Because I'm so far ahead of shit.
Exactly.
But so y'all, or like, basically, when you took, you know, you got this information and all this other different, you got this information, you got this new deal about to come up and you hitting people up, but y'all are, like, I was reading your partners' names and I was like,
they ain't from around here.
Yeah, I'm like, it's something else, right? So we talked about how, because I asked you, when did the mindset switch from national to, you know, global, right? And you was like, it's like organic. Like none of us are. We were all first generation.
We are global.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, like, you know, my parents Jamaican, my mom's from London, my dad's from Jamaica, Tunde Nigerian, Junior and Justice Ghana, Carlin Trinidad, and I think
got a squad.
Yeah.
Bro.
So like naturally, like we were all raised to think we got you to America, therefore y'all better be better than we were.
Right.
And you know, it becomes a touchy conversation in some spaces of the difference between being a Black American and being, you know, of the diaspora. You know what I'm saying? Or being first generation rather. And I was raised to not think about boundaries in the same way that a lot of Black Americans feel handicapped by boundaries. You know, whether it be like, you know, government or institutional, all of which exist, but I was not allowed to use that as an excuse.
Yo, this all the shit we be talking about on this joint. But keep flowing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
I just love the confirmation coming from, and when you got on here, we was like, yo, he family. He's not no guest.
But the reality is like the ability to be. I love being naive, right? Because I feel like it makes you fearless, right?
Yep.
There's certain times that I wouldn't finish reading a book on purpose because I don't. You're trying to scare me out.
I didn't want the summary.
Yeah.
You know
I just wanted to see the journey.
Boom.
You can leave I don't care what you thought about the whole journey.
100%.
I just want to see that journey.
So I feel like the more I can leave a little bit of information out of my I guess, like, you know, my log of like knowledge, the better, because it keeps you sharp. It keeps you like a little bit stupid
Yo,
enough
I
to try
actually
something.
teach like that now, right? So I go in there and I be spitting, I'm dropping all these lines, and people like, can you tell me what books you read? I'm like, yo, fuck that book. I just gave you the line. Now go put that shit in play, and you ain't got to waste fucking 5 hours or 5 days or 4 months on this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Because if you read the How to Make It in the Music Industry book, no, go find an artist that you like and start. If you need to pick up a book to say what happens when I get a contract and it says, all right, bet, and get back to work. Because you'll spend a year prepping to not have an experience that it said that you would have.
I said it all the time. If I pick up, wood and hammer and nails and start building a house, and you read a book on how to become an architectural designer or whatever, by the time you're done reading that book, I done failed 5 times and I done built the master house on my 6th try. Even though you read that whole book, by the time you start building, your first project still gonna fail. And so now I have more actual real life, what they call on the job training, OJT. I got real experience. You got book knowledge that actually really won't apply in the real world. So get out there. Well, all we saying is get out there and fail
faster.
Go fail fast.
Fail faster.
Yeah, me and a couple guys, man, we started a software company in an industry we knew nothing about.
You were naive.
Totally. And I tell people that's the best thing that ever happened, because we had to lean heavily on people, our customers, primarily, that knew the business. And they're going to tell us the real and not somebody else, because we had competitors tell us that's not going to work. Y'all can't do it that way, right? But we had our customers going, you really need this, you really need this. And we just listened to them and trusted them.
Yeah, whenever somebody asks me for advice, I usually start it with, I've been wrong before, or please don't feel like you have to listen to me. Then I'll give my journey or my spiel about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want anybody to think that my way is the way.
The dopest thing you just said, bro, out of a lot, you said a lot of dope things, but I never read the end of the book. That's a t-shirt. Don't read the end of the book.
Don't read the end.
Because it just becomes opinionated. It becomes, that's dope. I'm sorry.
You work with a lot of
Unless the book don't end.
That's your own book, right?
Yeah. My shit don't never end. I got another one coming. Nigga, you got to buy the next one.
With no ending.
Well, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, you work with a lot of young people, man. And you got a lot of wisdom for someone that's mid-30s, man. How do you transfer that to, like, really young people that, are
successful?
They're right.
Nah, they don't know shit. That's fucking
they're trying to get a bag and they trying to get that fame or whatever else. How do you manage that?
I mean, I think one, like, we were gifted with the gift of traveling from an early age, right? Seeing different cultures, seeing how things work outside of America in general, right?
Yo, tell them how though, B.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Delta scam.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Yeah.
Tell them, man. Shit.
So
I
not
like
like
that shit.
The rule is, if you live in Atlanta, obviously Delta is like the hub.
Right, yeah.
You find it's usually around May, actually, when they start hiring a lot of people for like the summer. You find a homie, $1,500, you get that companion pass.
Out there.
You're out. What? We used to pop up in any country, any city.
At any time.
On the drop of they were so confused.
That's not a scam. That's being resourceful.
No, it's called a hack.
Yeah.
They hacked the system. But go ahead, big dog. The niggas seen the world through a hack.
Yeah, they would be so confused how 5 black kids are just pulling up like tomorrow. Like, I'm not gonna email. I'll just play for you tomorrow in London.
Right.
But not like, I think more than us teaching people, I think people watch us and can be inspired by the fact that we're different. And I
lead
say
by
that
example. You just live it.
Yeah, and the reality is we're from Atlanta, but like stereotypically, myself and the guys don't come off as Atlanta, right? You know what I'm saying?
You from Atlanta or College Park or College Park,
I grew up in
East
like
Point?
North Side, so like Gwinnett, right?
Okay, Gwinnett, gotcha.
Oh, you from like a lot of places.
Yeah,
you born somewhere, you lived.
But I only say that because like we represent a side of Atlanta that is off center, that is a little bit more eclectic. That I remember Vice came down to Atlanta and they did like this like 5-piece documentary, basically called like, let's call it Welcome to the Trap, right? And it showed every side of Atlanta that was just like destruction, murder, mayhem, and nothing that was this huge melting pot that we know in existence. Like we used to have this party called Broken Bougie. We like, you know what I'm saying, like red cup parties. Like we were the weird kids, the art kids, the ones that couldn't draw but knew what to put on, like all that type of shit. So I feel like people resonate with our worldly views coming from a place that's not always known for having that.
Gwinnett is like, that's unpredictable. Like all the other places are predictable.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
East Point's predictable. All the other spots.
But yeah, I mean, again, I think there is a sense of the type of artists that we choose to sign. There is a sense of the type of content that we create. Yeah, you know, it definitely leans more artistic than anything else.
But it sounds like that connection gives you the trust between the two, between you and the artist, and it allows you to kind of.
The dopest thing is when you see a new artist come out and somebody tweets, "Oh, that looks like an LVRN artist."
Dope.
Because it means that our brand is so strong that somebody can see talent that's not huge. This and not that, but a little bit of this to say that should go over there.
I was attracted to people on your artists, like black, obviously black, but there's this one kid from Vermont.
Jax, North Jax.
Yeah, I loved his song. When I heard that song, I said to my wife, I said, when this song actually leaves Little Vermont, it's about to be a hit.
I'll play you some joints after this.
Yeah, I was like, it's about to be a hit. This little white dude is about to be a hit. Yeah. Like, and I think I have that knack for music, so I'm like an earlier adopter on a lot of music because I used to be the SoundCloud kid.
You're an early adopter of everything, man.
Yeah.
I could just tell when something's
North
hot.
Jax got some joints.
Yeah, he got little small kid from Burlington, Vermont, right?
Yep.
I used to have a girlfriend from up there, bro. That's how crazy it is.
How you find talent in Burlington?
Yeah, I went to Burlington, Vermont one time, and it was a weird place, but it was beautiful. And it's like hippie too. So it's very like
naturistic.
Yeah, like you know, Ben and Jerry's and weed is all they like care about.
Because Ben and Jerry's from up there.
Yeah.
Wow,
but honestly, North Ave Jax found us via his friend who thought North Ave Jax was an artist that should be on LVRN.
Good fit.
Wow.
FaceTime tuned out of the blue. I don't even know how he got his number, and the rest was history. But that comes from the brand of like, like I would have called this person, but I think he do well over here.
Well with y'all.
I'm telling you right now.
So y'all like, go ahead.
You gonna hear this cat 2-3 years from now and be like, yo, I remember that conversation they were having. Yeah. Because he's a dope he's a dope artist. Like he reminds me.
Hopefully we'll hear him.
Yeah, you'll hear him
before that, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure. Nah.
So is this accurate though? Like, so I'm old school in the music industry and stuff like that, right? And it sounds like y'all like A&Rs on steroids.
No, they're what record labels used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the 360
because
deal.
y'all develop.
But that's why the 360 deal makes
artists.
sense though.
Yeah.
Because they are now taking their time, their money, and their energy. Right, and the resources from all the years of mistakes and pouring it into an artist. So it makes sense for them to take a 360 because you go from random guy on TikTok to now you got a whole team that's pouring. Now, once they commit, they believe. I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Like I'm watching. North Jack live in Atlanta now, right? Yeah. You from Vermont? I'm watching this kid. Like he had like 3,600 followers when I found him.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. It's you know if whenever y'all in Atlanta, come to the headquarters. Like y'all will see like. It's designed to not want to go home. You know, like there's a pool in the back. Don't go home.
What's your disruption play? What have you done to disrupt the industry? And what do you plan on doing to disrupt the industry?
Man, I guess our next frontier is film and TV. You know, there's a couple of
I can write scripts
via ChatGPT.
Yes.
Respect.
I keep it real, 100%. But I can write. You laughing?
You know how to prompt it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Bam.
You could write a great prompt.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, film and TV for sure. You know, there's a couple of original scripted ideas that we have floating around. One of which we sold to Netflix at one point that didn't get greenlit, but sold good. I would say if I sold,
you kept the check.
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it back right now though. But I mean, I still, nonetheless, I always say if I was able to get on screen, the first thing I ever wrote, I'll be the biggest dickhead in the world. So I'm happy that it didn't happen. And to your point, I learned so much in the process of doing it that I know how to do it even better the next time, right? But and then other than that, I mean, growing our roots in West Africa and the rest of the world. You know, we have a big part of us taking on this investment was to grow Africa in the UK.
Yo, get there first, bro.
What? Yeah.
It's like
ground.
Bro. It's like. It's so many talented people. The vibe. Yeah. It's where people are going. Go there now.
in between, you know.
We going July 8th. We going to Ghana July 8th.
Oh, bad. Nah, yeah, let us know. But between you know, DeVito, DJ Spinner, you know, it's a great start for us. We have a new act in the UK. Her name is Ayana. She's incredible. And yeah, I mean, London has always been our home away from home. Like if it wasn't anywhere in the States, like our first choice is London. So like we've grown amazing relationships and just like traction there over time. Australia the same.
Never been there. That's just too long, bro.
It takes a
I had
day
to go to like
get
Dubai,
there, right?
hang out for a little 2 weeks, and then make the
That's a nasty trip for sure.
So I seen a post where you guys are Brian Michael Cox, which is an OG, well respected in this industry.
Yeah.
He is now. What is he to y'all now?
He is
the label,
the vice president, A&R, and executive producer, and it's so dope to be able to what I consider attempt to rewrite history. You know, he for him this is him pivoting out of having to be the hands-on keys version of himself, and he can kind of take a step back and be more of the director of Traffic. And I think all of the knowledge that he's taking, because you have so many A&Rs that don't know how to do anything. Granted, there's great A&Rs that don't know how to do anything, and they have skills that, you know, are otherwise or other. But him being able to have, one, all of this knowledge from all of these years, two, musical talent, and three, he can communicate the same way that a producer can with an artist. And if you could do that with an artist from a A&R standpoint and guiding standpoint, then you're kind of, you know,
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. And then you're given the ability to tap into a new age way of thinking, aka our label, that's not going to hold you back. It's like, you know, everybody wins. So
That's good stuff.
That's dope. That's
So,
super dope.
to your point about like Chat GPT, you said you know you're gonna find the space behind the camera, behind Chat GPT, like those people that are in the industry, right? Like the producers, the engineers. How important are they? And because back in the day, they used to be really important. The DJ used to be the man, you know, before, you know, bigger than the artist, right? So how important are they now? Those behind the scenes positions.
So if we're talking about creatively behind the scenes,
Creatively,
like writers, producers, engineers, all incredibly important. What's dope though is a lot of artists do all that shit
A lot of shit
themselves.
by himself. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just saw
Everything.
I just saw a minute-long clip of Ariana Grande recording herself, literally comping herself in real time on Pro Tools, like light mixes and like
they grew up with the computers now, though.
moving as fast as your $200,000 a year engineer. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's incredibly important, but where you get it from has changed over time. You know?
Gotcha.
Yo, what was the dope? Well, I don't know. Who was the most unpredictable? Like, you got in the business, you get a phone call, you pick it up, be like, yo, what's up? This is, you like, who? Like, for real? You ever get one of them phone calls and be like, damn,
maybe the Beyonce call?
Maybe the Beyonce call.
Yeah, I think.
Ask if she give me some tickets.
Yeah, I think Beyonce called one of our artists at the time, Drum, because she really liked this song called Cha Cha that he did. But nah, I mean, what I
She
have
wanted to get on the
realized,
song? Like she wanted to.
she ended up just dancing to it on Instagram, I think. But then he ended up doing a record with it. I don't know, I don't forget. But to my point, it's like you move so fast in this shit that you really sometimes fail to soak in moments that are that dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember back when I had the Delta Pass, Chaka Zulu, who's one of our like huge mentors, like the rule was like he'll put you in touch with anybody in the world, just don't fuck it up. Right. He's an open book. He manages Ludacris, but he's also like the mayor of Atlanta, basically. Yeah. But he went on a
Queen
trip.
Latifah's partner? Or they did something together? No? Okay.
I've heard of his name and I don't even know who he is. Like for real, I knew that he ran Atlanta in the music game for sure.
But you know, one time he went to London. Ludacris was doing like Fast 7 or whatever Fast it was, but they were doing a premiere in London, and I asked if I could go. If you can make it there, I made it there. They had this hotel room that they use for all the promo, so they do all the international promo in this one hotel room. I would just stay there late as fuck and just go to sleep on the floor like when everybody would leave. But one night we went to the Beyonce show, and obviously like, you know, I smuggled my way to make it with them as well. And I ended up being like me, Luda, J, and B. I'm sitting on the floor drinking Coronas with Beyonce, Blue Ivy in the back chilling, Chris Martin from Coldplay, and this little white kid. He's paying this white kid like $20 to slap him in the face with some weird white shit. It was kind of cool though. Like it was just like you realize like man, like these worlds really do exist, and like I'm a fly on the wall, but like I'm actually also a part of the conversation. And you know, I think just like moments like that, I have to dig deep to reflect on them. Like damn, like that did happen. You know? But I have 100 emails to get to too, so it's easy to forget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I thought you were going to speak. Rest in peace. Talk about maybe Virgil and that relationship and how he designed your crib.
I mean Virgil. That like I'm Virgil's biggest fan, and it was so dope for my hero to also be a friend. Maria Rubin, who's like one of my best friends, you know, is the only reason why we know each other, and I have modeled my life after Virgil in the sense of somebody who knows no boundary and also understands the power of collaboration. You know, I think just the worlds that he's put together, whether it be from architecture to fashion to automobiles to just art to music, he's the reason why I DJ now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my fearlessness of criticism comes from watching him be criticized for any and everything, but literally being unfazed by it. But yeah, I mean, before he passed, we started working on a project in Jamaica for a family house that I'm building, a family house in a studio. And
you gotta tell me offline which parish you in, bro.
Oh yeah, no, I'm in Treasure Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
He designed the crib, right?
Yeah. So
so Virgil designed the crib.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously still gonna build it out, you know, top to bottom, just as we all saw it. And it's become even more important, you know, obviously he passed from cancer. Right. My mom was diagnosed last December. We're good. We're in a way better place.
Awesome.
So yeah, now it's even that much more important to get it done, you know?
Yeah.
But Virgil's that guy is a superhero for many reasons. And to this day, I look back at old interviews, I look back at old texts, I look back at, you know, just images that we share with each other. And granted, like, you know, I'm not here to say that like we talked every single day or things of that nature, but his influence on me is something that I'm forever indebted to. And again, it's how I move, it's how I model my life. It's the reason why me going into film and TV is like, nah, fuck it, why not? Me saying I want to DJ tomorrow is like, fuck it, why not? These crazy ideas that I have, fuck it, why not?
Is this inner Virgil right here? Like,
you know. I got a tattoo that says he has this concept. It says tourist, but he has this concept of the tourist versus the purist, right? Yeah. And you have a purist who is a person like, no, like jazz music doesn't have this instrument in it. That's rock. Take that out of there. Yeah. And then you have the tourist that knows not that much about anything, but that's what's dope about them because they don't care. So they can kind of bounce between things just like lackadaisically and just like have a good time because they're a tourist. And I think there's a beauty between a purist and I resonate more with being a tourist because I don't want to know everything about anything. I just want to have a good time.
There you go.
I like to say I know a little bit about a lot of shit.
Yeah, boom.
You know what I mean? And
love to have enough fun.
Love to
have fun with the whole thing.
I just know enough to talk a little bit about it, throw it on and shit. Nah, but I'm looking though. I can never pull this off. Personally, you know what I'm saying? But you
we call Wendy. Take a picture. Wendy can make this happen.
Wendy gonna be all over it. Wendy gonna break it down to me and everything. But you know, I'm checking out. Your shirt got the web on it. There's mad science to that shit. Your socks say think different. Your hat says buy more flowers. So there's a lot in this right here.
My relationship with fashion has changed over the last couple of years too. I used to very much, you know, chase high fashion and, you know, buy the things that came out. And I realized that we all look the same when we go to the party that night. So I'm like,
swear.
I don't know, I And when you get more money, to keep it real, like you don't give a fuck as much. So like, I'll be wearing loafers with like the fucking basketball shorts.
You got loafers with some paint. I know these look probably like they probably not regular painter pants.
Yo, these like $30. That's
okay. So they are regular painter pants. Did you paint them or did they?
Somebody came and did somebody painted something and I picked up them after.
So like thrift. You like thrifted?
Yeah, it's thrifted.
Yeah. That's not thrifting, bro. I don't care. He paid $200 for the joint.
Nah,
he said
$35. Mr.
Nah, that's what it costs. But he paid $200 for those.
Nah, man, I'm telling you, man, this is some shit out there.
Yo, what's your personal end game, right? Because you can as you start to create, like you helping create things, and you can kind of lose your own sight because you're helping develop so much things. What's your personal end game?
My personal end game is to make movies and make furniture.
Furniture.
Yeah, I'm
Why furniture, big dog?
I have like a
that's that Virgil.
Yeah, I have a passion. I have a passion for just like the architecture of furniture.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big like mid-century modern buff. Things of that nature. Like a good couch is like doper than like a fire chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even the way I've been treating investments and shit. Like I was telling him earlier, like I'm too old to be wasting money, but I'm too young to not be having fun.
He did say that.
Yeah, so like I'm in this space where like I'm spending bread, but on things that will make me money in the future, but it's gonna be mad fun to have it in the meantime.
Yeah, that's dope.
We talk about watches. I'm a watch guy. You're a watch guy.
Yeah. I bought my first classic car.
What'd you get?
I got a Ferrari Testarossa, like a 1989. It's my birth year, so that's how I rationalize it. I'm like,
it makes sense.
Born that year, you gotta have it.
Right.
But like, hey, keep it in good condition. 5 years, sell it for $100,000 more than I bought it for.
You got to enjoy it and make money.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what watches are all about. You know, most of the time you don't even get rid of watch. Like there's a lot of pieces that I hope to one day, inshallah, I'll pass down to like my son or something. It was like, that was a $13,000 watch back then. I know they want $100 for it right
now. The way I think about it now, and this is how I tell my partner, so I'm like, nah, I didn't buy it. I put that money in the Ferrari account. Or I put that money in the LA house account. Now, if I need to go get that money,
you could
go get that money.
And it's gonna be more than what I put in it.
There you go.
So like the only things I'm spending money on is the shit that I can't get back.
Right.
When I bought these pair of pants, I spent money on the pants. I didn't put them in the pants account.
It's not an investment.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a good way to think about it. That's kind of how I do it too. Because a lot of things I know how to buy right. So when it comes time to owning them, I own them right, and then when I sell them, I make a profit. Or I can, like for example, like you buy cars. Like I can go buy an Escalade right when it was MSRP, and people paying $50,000 over sticker. Right, I can enjoy that car for a year and a half and still get what I paid for it because people still overpaying, which don't make sense. It's the same with the watch. Like you gonna get a Daytona if you got a good relationship with the dealer, you paying $14,000, $15,000. You walk out the store, you can sell it for $30,000, $35,000.
Right.
But you can enjoy it the whole time, even wear it, rock it every day, and still sell it for $15,000, even in 2 years. But then you wait that long time, you could probably sell it for $100,000.
You see the Kevin O'Leary video?
When he's crying over that watch?
Yeah. He's crying over a watch.
To what you were just saying though, that's the reason why we actually have to like partner with people like LVRN. Like we gotta actually give out this information early on so that they buy things smart.
You ain't got no diamonds on that.
Yeah, but this information is like, granted, shout out to God, right? Because I feel like God always gave us bread or new bread when we didn't want any more what we thought we wanted. Like I got fresh bread and thought I always wanted a big ass diamond watch. And as soon as I got it, I'm like, I don't want a big ass diamond watch. You know what I'm saying? So thank God, right? So there's so much dumb shit I bypassed just by not having bread. So shout out to God for like his timeliness. But I think when it comes to just the knowledge of how to move, I've realized in the last couple of years, there's so much, and I'm sure y'all talk about this all the time, there's so much information that is not readily available for us. And it's not even for us.
Right.
Like when I learned what a line of credit really was, I'm like, wait, so I could put my money in this account and y'all will give me money that I could use and I could keep that money there?
That means you got to go out and hustle and make that money.
Bro, like even, the way that, they teach debt to,
it's a bad thing.
It can be the most beautiful thing if it's done responsibly.
It's a tool.
Right.
Yeah. So, between that,
a hammer could break a window or build a house. It just depends.
Man, and I I try to do my best to educate people close to me, and not even just people close to me, but people that I know will listen, of things that we can do. Especially like, for instance, like if somebody hits me up about a fund that, you know, the minimum is $500,000 to invest in, and I know none of my homies necessarily are liquid that way. I'm like, all right, you give me this, I'll put up the rest. We can now fund it, right? Now we're all in this hedge together, right? And I feel like more opportunities like that just need to be spoken about. And it's tough and it's not easy. And I don't even understand certain things enough for me to properly articulate it to everybody, which I guess sometimes can hinder. But, you know, black people are, what's the word? We'd be scared. You know what I'm saying? Like our departure from funds is skeptical. Yeah. Our departure from our liquid bread is tough.
We be hoarding bread because we never had it.
You know what I'm saying? I used to be the guy that wants to see everything in my checking account because it made me feel better. If I can't see it, is it really there? You know what I'm saying? So
I call like so what happens is I call money, and I know we got to get you out of here and get you to the airport. So good, but you got different stages of getting money, and I think most of us can agree on this. You ain't got no money when you coming up. The first time you get some bread, you blow it. Immediately. Right? You blow that joint. The second time you get some bread, you kind of blow the joint, but then you start to learn. The third time or the second time you get some bread, you start to hoarder it.
Right.
You don't let it go anywhere. You want to open up that account and you want to check it. And then as you start to learn more, you realize you got to release them doves to come back and bring some more doves back. And so you get to the point where you're okay with almost, I wouldn't say hitting zero, but hitting zero in your operating playing account. Yeah. Like you got to be like, I pulled down $1 million last month, but I spent $950 on the way back out. Yeah. Because the $950 is supposed to bring me 1.2 back.
And you're in a worse shape than the cat that brought in 100 and let 10 go back out.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
But you brought in $1 million. So you know, I look at like the Rockefeller or not the Rockefeller no more, but the Rock Nation brunch, right? I look at that and I go, all these cats just pool their resources, their connects together, man, they could have, you know, they could own islands and you know, real estate and jet services. And why do you think that doesn't happen, especially in that industry? With all the bread that's been made.
Trust. I think if there's one word, it's trust, right? I think there's pockets of people that, you know, create collectives of, you know, whether it be funds or different, initiatives that they kind of do together. But I've always personally been a fan of this. I grew up in South Florida before I moved to Atlanta, right? Okay. By the age of 12, I was going to more bar mitzvahs than anything, right? So I had a very early understanding of Jewish culture, right? And if there's one thing that I 100% appreciate about them is the synergy that they can kind of operate in. Right. You know, not to speak on anything outside of the synergy that I love about it is that their dollar doesn't leave their community.
Bro, there's a book we talked about that love so much. We writing our own book.
Yeah, and you know, Killer Mike did there was something on Netflix that he did where he tried to keep $1 in the black community.
He tried to live black.
He said he couldn't do it for 30 days. He tried to buy black for 30 days or something like that.
Yo, this conversation has been absolutely insane. I feel like we need another hour, but I know you got to get to the plane.
We're going to have to
ask one more question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top 5 MCs.
All time?
All time. Anytime.
In order.
Top 5, huh?
In order?
No, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Hov forever. DMX.
Where my dog's at?
Yeah.
Nice gonna get that ad-lib Grammy.
Busta Rhymes has always been in my top.
Flip mode.
If I could have stopped him at a certain point and just say, yo, just live in this icon. Yeah.
Right.
Kanye.
Yes, freeze his ass too.
Was that a struggle? Or
it was
was
a struggle because you said MCs, right? So like, you know, there's a side of me that's like, he may not be the best MC, but as an artist, like, gotcha. You know, like collectively, right?
Gotcha.
And then 5, I guess Eminem.
Hard to argue.
It's a good
Hard to
list.
argue.
It's a good list.
It's a decent
It's a
list.
good list. Hard to argue.
I'm gonna be in the car like, fuck, I should have said that.
Sound good. Well, part 2, you can come back and revise.
No, I feel like what we should do is we should go down to
Yeah, we
Atlanta,
should go to
Yeah,
and we should just have like a rolling
I wanna
joint
see
and
the
just sit down with the whole
headquarters.
squad.
yeah. Come, we should do a part 2 at the spot.
Yeah, do a whole squad because I think this is dope. Because what I like about this whole conversation is we're now getting to see the new face of the new school, and the new artist and the new exec. Like what's dope is I'm gonna be at home with my kids 20 years from now. I'm like, nah, I knew that kid when he was at the joint because it's like I'm watching. And I'm listening. It's more and more. I'm listening to what you're saying.
Right.
I'm seeing the new Diddy. I'm seeing the new right now making
I
because
think it's gonna be the better Diddy though.
no,
Yeah.
the new
it's
one.
2.0. Yeah,
It's 2.0 in a sense because I'm hearing what he's saying early.
Yeah.
And how he's. I'm talking to like you're not right here,
No,
but
no.
you know what I mean. Like
No, it's good money, though.
I'm seeing what you're saying, and I like the direction you're going, and even that we can have a conversation. Like us, you reaching out to me and me reaching out to you in the sense of a narrative, and it got nothing to do with music, bro. It's like, yo, we respect each other's grind.
Yeah.
I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you know, so to do that and to know that you even watch and listen to the pod, it shows you a whole nother intellect. And I'm glad you've been able to come here and kick it with me.
Because we
and my
corny.
guys.
We say we corny all the time.
Because we corny. Corny get paid every day.
Yeah,
we corny.
for sure.
Corny as
I
hell.
appreciate
works.
you, fam, man. Thank you for coming through and
Thanks
just
for having
letting
me,
us have, this much time. You know what I mean?
for
Absolutely,
sure,
man.
for
You
sure.
It's
definitely
pretty dope,
blessed.
man. And
We got to
bless
plug
the
your
pod.
IG. We're going to put it all in
bless
the
the
Yeah,
bio
pod.
and
we're
all
gonna
that
put it
stuff.
up. We're gonna put it up there. All
But
that.
we got to go to Atlanta.
Yeah,
no,
we're gonna pull up.
Yeah, let's do that. And I ain't been to a concert in a long time. So when
Yeah,
people
nah.
go back on the road, let's do something.
Yeah, but for everything that
we're
you're
doing-
doing,
we're
and
doing
everything
we're
you're
doing a
doing
summer
different,
show,
and the
so-
whole team and all that, man, we just want to say big up and respect to all.
Absolutely,
man.
appreciate
100%.
you. Yeah, y'all doing the Lord's work over here. Educating
What were you about to
themselves.
say about you getting ready to do?
Nah, Summer has a show coming up for her birthday, April. If y'all want to pull up.
Okay,
Definitely.
You know, that gives you some points.
Yeah, that's gonna give me
Yeah,
some
nah,
points.
yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
And you-
my
and you
daughter,
with your daughter
one
in
of my
Atlanta?
daughters in Spelman.
Oh,
yeah,
bet.
yeah. So I mean, I can bring her through. or something like that.
He got cool points. Look at this guy.
Shout out
Look,
to
man,
TT.
we appreciate every single one of y'all watching this pod on YouTube. You know what it is. If you are listening on Pod World, don't forget, listen, do us a favor. Hit that 5-star because it just keeps us motivated to keep us going, to keep doing new shows. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. This is the Endgame Podcast. My name is Max Maxwell.
Sean Formosa.
I'm Rod Brown.
Lynch Hunt.
And we out.
Peace. Let's get my
Oh,
man
man,
out
you
of here.
blessed
Yo,
us.
you guys, so let me look at the time real quick. So